What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So can the Department of Government Efficiency, can they cut Social Security? Can they cut Medicare? So we're going to talk a little bit about that in this video. There was a post, and actually this was on Twitter, and this was coming from Elon Musk, and shout out to Dolly for sending this to me. Let's take a read. So it says, at this point, I am 100% certain that the magnitude of the fraud in the federal entitlements, I don't like that word. Politicians use it all the time, but this is something that you earned. These are earned benefits. You've paid into it your whole life. So federal entitlements, Social Security. So you see how he lists Social Security first. Medicare, Medicaid, welfare, disability, etc. That's interesting that you just put etc. What's etc.? So usually when you hear entitlements, you think of Social Security and Medicare. Those are the two major drivers, and that's what, when you hear politicians talk about entitlements, that's what they're talking about. And then it says, et cetera, so it says, exceeds the combined sum of every private scam you've ever heard by far. It's not even close. Okay, so after this tweet, it got people a little nervous about the plan for Social Security and Medicare. What is the plan? Now, we've already heard that President Trump has indicated that he is not going to cut Social Security and he's not going to cut Medicare. But when it comes to the Department of Government Efficiency, what are they finding out? We saw Elon Musk at the Oval Office just a few days ago talking about people who are 150 years old still receiving Social Security benefits. He used that as an example. I wish there were more details. I wish Twitter, in my mind, people putting out tweets, they're not giving a lot of information, at least linked to something where you're showing some of this waste, fraud, and abuse. And make no mistake, when it comes to waste, fraud, and abuse, I want that to be taken care of as well. I think most Americans will look at that and say, if we're wasting money somewhere, if we have people who are fraudulently taking money, and if we have people who are abusing the system, then definitely we need to get rid of that. That makes sense. That actually helps Social Security because you get rid of people who are defrauding Social Security. You get rid of some of the wasteful spending that's going on. You get rid of we were just talking about this a few days ago, and there were some articles on it a couple of weeks ago where dead people were still receiving Social Security benefits. Some of it was fraudulent. Some people just never reported the fact that their loved one passed away, and they were still receiving the checks coming in, direct deposit, probably coming into a joint account, and they weren't saying anything. And some people were doing this for a long period of time. And so, yes, we need to take care of that because that money is all being taken from the people who are currently working, paying into FICA as well as the trust funds. So if that money, if we could save on that, that's a good thing. But what are the numbers? What are we talking about? Are we talking about millions? Are we talking about billions? I know they said 31 million when it comes to money going out to dead people is in the amount of about 31 million. And they're still doing more. They're still investigating that. So there could be more that's coming. But I want to know the numbers. I don't want to just hear that someone 150 was receiving Social Security benefits. I want to know how much did that amount to? And how many cases are we seeing that are like that? And so those are things that I think are fair for us to look at and say, yes, we need to cut that. But when it comes to Social Security as a whole, when it comes to Medicare as a whole, can the Department of Government Efficiency, can they make cuts? And the easy answer is no, they can't. They are not a branch of our government. And so when it comes to the branches of government, you have the judicial branch, you have the executive branch, and you have the legislative branch. Now, the legislative branch, they hold the money, they hold the purse. They determine what gets cut and what doesn't. Now, you can have different organizations, special interest groups. You can have different bureaucracies that are looking into different areas to make sure that there's no wasteful spending and then reporting that information to Congress. And then Congress has to actually act on that. And so the easy answer is no. The Department of Government Efficiency, they cannot make any cuts to Social Security or Medicare. However, we need to go a little bit deeper. And I want to show you something I put up some graphics here. We'll go over these graphics, and I just want to show you when it comes to, and we kind of talked about this, Social Security changes. So the only real way that we're going to see changes to Social Security, economic factors. We can see changes to Social Security just based on inflation, taxation, changes of cost of living adjustment. So all of these things we can see impact Social Security, okay, as well as congressional legislation, like I indicated. We just saw the Social Security Fairness Act that just passed. That is a change to Social Security. Now people are going to be able to receive more money as a result of the elimination of weapon GPO. That is something that had to go through Congress, get passed in Congress, and then go to the president and have him sign off on it. And so that's what we saw there. So laws, Congress can change the laws when it comes to Social Security. Who gets paid, how much, all of that. And so that's something that we could see in March. And I keep going to this March date. The reason that I'm talking about March is because that's when they're going to have this big bill that they're going to put together. And it looks like they're putting together a reconciliation bill, which means they only need a majority in the House, which is normal. But in the Senate, they also only need a majority. They don't need the 60 votes. So they can pass it straight along party lines. So Republicans can pass it in the House, and then Republicans in the Senate can pass it, and then have the president sign off on it. So that's what they're working on right now, a big bill that could have some cuts in these different agencies. We'll have to see. Is it just going to be money going to the Social Security Administration for operation costs, or are we going to see money being cut from different areas? Now, another area that we really need to talk about is the trust fund depletion. We know in about 8 years, if the trust funds get depleted, that's an automatic cut. Okay, that Congress is not going to play a role in that at this point. Now, the only thing that they can do is they can reform it. But if we wait and do nothing, then automatically you're going to see about a 23% cut in benefits. And so that's the scary thing. This is what I keep talking about, because this is why we need to reform Social Security. If they don't do anything, then this cut is going to happen. And there's no stopping it at that point. Well, I shouldn't say that. You can stop it, but at that point, Congress is going to have to scramble. And I'm telling you, the deal is going to be really bad. The bill that we see, if they wait until, let's say, 7 years, 6 months, and they start talking about, oh, we need to reform Social Security, that is going to be really bad for a lot of people, because they'll most likely they're still going to see a cut. And I said this like a year ago, even 2 years ago, talking about this. And back then it was 10 years. Now we're looking at about 8 years. And the problem is when you have some Congress people that they want to cut Social Security. They don't think Social Security should be there. Some Congress people want to do away with Social Security as a whole. And so if you're down into the 11th hour, 7 years, 6 months down the road, 8 years, whatever, we're looking at we could actually see the end of the trust funds, see the trust funds actually be depleted. Then they're going to say, well, you know what? You could take a 23% cut if we do nothing, or you can take a 15% cut if we reform Social Security. So that is the danger there. Now, the next question is, can they cut SSDI? Can they cut disability? So the Department of Government Efficiency. Well, not exactly. However, when it comes to SSDI, it's a little bit different, because Congress can pass laws to change SSDI rules. Okay, so you can change the rules. Congress can do that. President, through executive order, the president can propose changes, and the SSA can make some administrative adjustments. Here we go, administrative adjustments, but they still need congressional approval for major policy changes. So the Social Security Administration, they can make some minor changes in how they are looking into these different cases and what they're requiring from the individuals when they are applying for SSDI. And then it says right here, the Social Security Administration, SSA can tighten rules to qualify for or keep SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, benefits, but within limits. SSA has some administrative discretion, but the major changes typically have to come from Congress, okay? So they can make things a little more difficult. When I say they, I'm talking about the Social Security Administration. Now, where could this come from? Where is the pressure coming from? The pressure could come from the Department of Government Efficiency first. They can put out information saying, look, we think there's wasteful spending here, and we need to look more into this. And then that can go to the president, so the executive branch, and then the president can put pressure on the Social Security Commissioner. Okay, now we don't have one yet. There's an acting one, but it doesn't matter. He can still put pressure on that individual and say, look, you guys need to tighten up your screening process when it comes to SSDI. And so that is one place where we could see cuts when it comes to Social Security. And so like Social Security, you're contributing to FICA, and that a small portion of that money is going to SSDI, okay? It goes into that trust fund. And that money will help if you were injured and you can no longer work. So that's how that works. Now, looking at an overview of SSDI, and this is back in 2023, okay? Usually it's a little hard. 2024, we'll get those numbers, but it takes a little bit of time. But 2023, we have some solid numbers. So the average monthly benefit for SSDI at that time was $1,537. Total benefit payments, so these are all the payments in 2023, amounted to $152 billion. And then the number of beneficiaries receiving SSDI back in 2023 was 8.7 million. Okay, so now let's look at over the years. So we'll start back in 2010. 2010, this is the money that was going to pay out benefits for people receiving SSDI. So back then it was less than 130 billion, and then around 2015 we were above 140 billion. We don't have the exact number, so let's say 145 billion, and then in 2020 we were looking at it about 146, 147 billion. And then we shot up. You see this move up here. We shot up in 2022, 2023, and it went to 165 billion. And then in 2024, it's about 170 billion. So you see it's gone up. It's continued to go up, continued to rise. Now, one of the questions that you might have is, why does it keep going up? Why is it continue to increase? Well, there's some reasons for that, and we'll take a look at four of the most popular reasons why we're seeing an increase. Okay, so it doesn't mean you have more people who are currently receiving SSDI benefits, but what we have different things that will cause that number to continue to rise. And so the first one here is increased diagnosis. So more disabilities are recognized due to medical advancements. Okay, so doctors are able to see things and say, okay, yes, this is disability, and they're able to do it better now because of because of our technology. Okay, aging workforce. So more workers apply for SSDI due to aging and disabilities. So we have more people who are working longer. And so as a result of that, more people are at a point where, they're, I don't want to say vulnerable, but you're older, you are prone to injury more. And let's say you get injured and you're 61, 62, 63, you haven't retired, and now you're collecting SSDI because you can't work. Things like that, okay? So in the past, you had, and this is the thing, we've talked about this before, we had jobs where people were earning pensions, okay? Not a lot, but there were more jobs where people were able to earn a pension. And if you're earning a pension, you generally have advantages over someone who is paying into a 401k and receiving Social Security. This is just my opinion, okay? That's the way I see it. Because if you earn a pension, generally, you're able to retire younger. You can retire in your 50s. And you're going to receive that pension for the rest of your life. And some of the pensions are pretty substantial. I mean, it might be enough for you to only receive that pension and not have to receive anything else. Okay, not all pensions, but I'm just saying some. And so that system was better than what we're looking at now, where we have 401ks. And so a lot of people now, they have a 401k and they have Social Security. They no longer have that pension, and a 401k, of course, a 401k can run out. You can run out of that money. Whereas a pension, you will get that for the rest of your life, and you can retire earlier. So you get rid of the pensions, for the most part. I mean, if you're working for state and local government, you could probably, you're probably still receiving a pension. That's in my situation, I received a pension because I work for local government. But a lot of people are, I mean, we had it in the private sector. People were able to earn pensions in the private sector. That's pretty much gone away. And so now people are working longer. And then on top of that, people have to work longer because they can't afford to retire because the cost of things are so expensive. And so just to pay your mortgage and for food and all that stuff, you need to continue working. And some people will continue working into, you know, they never retire. And so that's something else to think about. Now, higher wages. Okay, new recipients qualify for higher benefits due to wage increases. So if you are making more, you're contributing more to SSDI. When they start doing the calculations, let's say if you get to a point where you apply for disability insurance, well, now you can receive more because you've made more. And so that means that the payout, you know, when you're looking over the years, it's going to increase. Another thing here, cost of living adjustment. So every year we see a cost of living adjustment. Or I shouldn't say every year we see a cost of living adjustment because that's not true. If we don't have much inflation at all, then they could zero it out and there won't be a cost of living adjustment for that year. But every year that we do see inflation, you're going to see a cost of living adjustment that's going to go with that. That's going to increase the amount of money that people on SSDI are receiving, and that makes that number go up year to year. So I just wanted to explain that because I know that's going to be the first question. Well, there must be something wrong with SSDI because every year it keeps going up. Why does it keep increasing? Those are some of the major reasons why it's increasing. So hopefully that makes sense. If you guys have any other questions, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Remember, you can send me an email, david@thetecshow.com. Subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.